Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Mitch. Hey, Emily. I gotta find my PowerPoint. I'm not very good at technology. I'm gonna just say it right now. I'm gonna do my best. I'm not very good at it. Okay, I think I got the PowerPoint Mara made for me downloaded, and we'll get it open here. Thank you for being patient. It says cannot open at this time. Trying to open it. Here we go. Open. Slideshow. All right. Sharing my screen here with you all. Can you see that? It says Ignite, and there's a lady on the right-hand side. Oh, good. That's a miracle. I am Tammy Sue Kenworthy, and I am one of the managing principal brokers for XBN, Experience Brokerage Network. And I supervise the agents that are from Eugene south to the California border. If you're in productivity coaching with Mara, we jointly supervise the clients that are in productivity coaching. And today's Ignite class is on connect with your market. I have been in real estate. This is my 30th year in real estate, and connecting and knowing your market, I feel, is extremely important. That's why I always volunteer to teach this portion of Ignite. I was a buyer's agent only for 28 years. So it's just been the last 2 years that I have hired a buyer's agent, and now I'm only doing listings. And knowing your market, connecting with your marketplace is so important to be able to educate your buyers and your sellers and let them know that you're the real estate expert of choice. The path that you take to become the expert of choice is by just knowing the resources that are available to you. It's not rocket science. So, what you want to do is you want to be that first person that they go to when they have any real estate questions. By the end of today, you should be able to learn about your current market, where to get data, and how to analyze it. You'll also be able to use KW technology, and you'll know what you should say on social media, how to use it to leverage your connection with your clients. If you have any questions at any time, you can either jot your notes down in your guide that you have, or you can just unmute yourself and ask a question at any time. I am very casual. Um, on Fridays, I teach a contracts class. My jam is contract law. That is my passion. And as we go through this class, if I get too technical, just stop me. But you most likely will hear your question answered as we go through the class.
I have a
Um,
question before I get too far.
yeah,
Why buyer's agent only for so long? Was there a reason for that?
that's a wonderful question. I love that. Um, I didn't have the confidence to be a solo agent on my own, so I always belonged to a team, Emily. I was always on a team. So
Gotcha.
up in the Portland market, I was on a team with one other agent. She did the listings and I did the buyers, and we had a really good thing.
That makes
Um,
sense.
and then when my husband got transferred down here to Eugene, I went solo for about 5 months and um, couldn't afford to buy my own leads. Couldn't afford to buy my own leads. And of course, the market was stunk. It was, 2008, 2009 with the great recession. You needed to either be able to afford to buy leads or be on a team that was providing you leads. So it was a natural progression for me to just jump in and join a team that was paying for leads because I couldn't afford to.
Gotcha.
If I had a sphere down here in Eugene, if I had friends and family down here, I probably would have stayed solo for financial reasons. As a team member, you're generally splitting 50% of your commission with the
Right.
team, right? So if I had had a big sphere, I would have probably stayed solo, but not having friends and family contacts and in this marketplace, I was terrified.
And do you market or advertise yourself as buyers only, or that's just what you seek out?
That's just what I sought out. Yep.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, my team lead, the in Keller verse, Keller Williams, we call it the Rainmaker, is the owner of the team. And she had 8 buyer's agents. She did all the
Oh,
listings,
wow.
and the 8 of us took every buyer lead. So we took sign calls, and her phone was on a round robin system. So if a phone call came into the office, it would randomly ring to one agent. If you didn't pick it up, it would randomly ring to the next, and it would just go
Mm,
until one of the 8 of us. Um, I don't want to sound egotistical, but my second year with her, because of the experience I had in Portland, and because I'm what people call a closer, I will get you to the finish line. She fired 6 of those other 7 agents, and just myself and one other lady took the business and ran with it, and we built it. And then I got recruited away to be a principal broker, and like I said, my college was for law and contract law specifically, and I love it. So um, I could make 3 times the money I'm making now if I had stayed an agent, but um, I really love training and helping other people, and um, I'm getting old, tired. I don't want to do 15 showings in one day.
so you don't sell any houses anymore. You're in the
I do
office mostly.
listings. I do
You
listings.
do. Oh, that's what you said. Right. Okay. Just
Yep.
listings. Okay.
Yep.
Well, thank you.
But it's really, yeah, it's really slowed down because I'm in the seat from 9 or 8. Pardon me, why did I say 9? The market center's open at 9, but I'm here from 8 to 5. So it's not really fair to buyers because I can't get out and do their inspection walkthroughs with them.
That makes sense. But
Yeah.
listings, you don't have to be there necessarily.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Yeah, so that I no good questions, and like the Gary quote on the screen says, if it's been done in another market, it can be done in yours. So, the my best year I closed 22 homes. Now I'm averaging between 10 and 12. You can do if I can do it, you can do it. If I can do it a part-time, you can definitely do it. Um, So if it's been done in your market, if you hear other agents saying, "Oh, I get referrals," or "Oh, I market myself as the open house expert in my area, and other Keller Williams agents have me do their open houses." If you hear of other agents doing something in their market, you bet it can be done in yours. Real estate is real estate. Helping people is helping people. Um, the first step in being successful is to know that it's not impossible. Accept that it's not impossible. You're with the brokerage that is the number one training brokerage in the world, and we also have the bragging rights of saying we're the largest in the world. So we've probably seen whatever you may bump up against that impacts your mindset, that's stopping you from calling people or following up on leads, whatever fears you may have, we've heard it from another agent. We've got an answer, whether that be Mara, myself, Jim in Hillsboro, or Polly in Klamath Falls. We've heard it. If you have the right systems, the right models, you can definitely achieve success. So we're going to pop right into know your market. If you are well connected and you're well informed, you are the agent that knows everything they can possibly know about their real estate market. Whether you're in a neighborhood, you're in a small town, or you're covering a whole county, or maybe you're just going to specialize in condos or manufactured homes in park. What you choose is up to you. The larger territory that you want to specialize in, the more market data you're going to need to know how to get. If you want to zero in and specialize on a city, that's going to be minimal information, and you're going to be able to digest it and memorize it. But if you want to grow your business, then you're going to need to go to outside areas, and perhaps your whole county is somewhere where you want to focus. Where Mitch is, he's close to Jackson and Josephine County. So he may want to always be pulling market information for both of those areas. He may not want to just focus on where he lives, which I think is Josephine, right, Mitch?
Yeah, Josephine, I live in Grants Pass.
Yeah. So,
but I'm definitely not going to limit myself. Just like you said, I'm going to go, Cave Junction all the way to Ashland and up to Glendale type of thing.
yeah. Yeah. So you're going to need to know how to pull that information. But first, what we're going to go over is knowing your market. And there's important numbers and things that you need to know. You're going to be asked as the real estate market as the real estate expert to understand your market in the moment you're currently in. There will be clients that say, oh, what happened during the last recession, or what happened when interest rates were 2 and 3%. And it's okay for you to say, I wasn't actively selling during that time, and bring the conversation back to, this is what we're looking at today. And I don't want you ever to say, like, I'm a new agent. You can say, I wasn't actively selling during that time period. What I'm most familiar with is what the market's like right now. And people will usually just be like, oh, okay, what's it doing right now? Is it a buyer's market or is it a seller's market? That's the question that you're going to get asked the most. So if you see me looking off the left, it's because the slides are on a different screen. So buyer's market is traditionally defined as more than 7 months of inventory. What does that mean? Months of inventory. That means if no other homes were listed for sale, currently what is active on the market right now, not pending, actively available for sale right now, it would take more than 7 months to sell all that property. The rate at which homes are selling, it would take more than 7 months. In a balanced market, we would sell all of those homes in 5 to 7 months. That would be balanced. We would have so much inventory in place that we could get every buyer looking for a home, we could get them in and get them sold a home within 5 to 7 months. Okay. A seller's market, that's what we're in right now. And we have been in for quite a long time. Okay. We are hopeful for a shift. a shift economically, but right now we're in a seller's market. So if no other homes were listed for sale, everything that we have on the market right now would be gone pending in under 5 months. And most likely where you live is going to be between 2 and 3 months. That's what we're looking at in Oregon right now. We are in a seller's market. There's not a lot for buyers to choose from. And that is compared to years past. Your MLS and your loan officers and your escrow officers, they generally compare to the last month. How did the market change in the last month? And that's what you're going to become an expert at. Okay, we have a slowdown in May. We have less buyers out looking. But, seller, you could still list your home with me because the buyers that are out there looking, they're accepting of the current interest rate, and most of them need to sell. Divorce, the size of their family changed. Either they added a child or they're baby boomers downsizing or a job change. So the folks that are out there shopping right now are serious. It's still a good time for a seller to list a home. Even though we have higher interest rates, we have low inventory. That's what we're looking at today. That may shift before the end of 2025, and you need to be prepared and ready to talk about it. And if you're in coaching with Mara, she's going to help you with those we call them in Keller Williams, we call them talking tracks. She's going to help you with those talking tracks, how to have those conversations. But what I'm here to show you today is the tools you can get to know your market. So the tools that we have to tell if there's a shifting market is what's happening with interest rates, what's happening with inflation, and what's happening economically in the neighborhoods you sell in. For example, our Hillsborough office is highly impacted by what happens at Intel. Are they having layoffs? That affects Southwest Portland area very much. Okay. When there are fires, that might affect where Mitch is. If there's Northern California fires and they're approaching the Medford and Phoenix area where they've had forest fires in the past, it becomes people become on high alert. But that's not an economic shift. That's just habits of people. We're not going to look right now, there's fires. We're just going to stand down right now and see how this gets managed. You can't control a shift in the marketplace. You can prepare for it though. So you need to know these things. What's the current inventory in your market? What's the average number of days a home stays on the market? What's the average price a home in your market area sells for? And then what we talked about previously, what type of a market are you in? And right now we're in a seller's market. In your participant guide, I think it's page 3.5, I'm not sure, but I think there's some questions that you can answer as you look through the local market. And the tool that we're going to use to answer these questions is something called Area Pro. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing for a second. Let me make sure. Yeah.
And quick question, you said the participant guide?
Yeah, do you have a Ignite book?
No, we've just been seeing it, I think I don't, maybe somebody else printed it off, but
Okay.
I don't either.
Well-
Mara's been just she usually just emails them like before class. It's
Oh,
what
okay.
happened last week. like
Okay.
that day's little packet, but I never did get a binder.
Oh, dang. Okay, well, for today, you're gonna want to write down what is the inventory of your market, the average days on market.
Hey Tammy Sue, I'm gonna cut out early. To get
Yeah.
the recording of this, do I just ask Mara for it?
I think she'll automatically send it out to you, but I'll double check.
Okay, awesome. All right, thank you.
You bet. You
All right.
bet. Okay, so I'm gonna just write a quick note to get Mitch the recording. So today you're gonna want to jot down what's the inventory of your market, the average number of days a home stays on market, and the average price in your market. Okay? What type of market? We already went over that. Okay. So I'm going to stop sharing. And I'm going to pull up my internet here. And this is not in the slides because this is something that is exclusive to Experience Brokerage Network. Our 4 market centers throughout Oregon, our company pays for us to have access to this website. And it's called areapro.com. And you should be able to see it now on my screen. Hopefully it's big enough for you. So it's an app, app.areapro.com. And if you have not set up your account yet, you can go through the process of setting up your account. And whoever is your agent services person, Adriana, Ashley, or Allison, or Lynn, they can help you get your account set up. And what you do is you set up the areas that you work in. So I've got here, I work in Yamhill County. My family all lives in Yamhill County. I work in Lane County where I live. I work in Hillsboro where my daughter lives. I have her house listed right now. That's the only reason I have Hillsboro. So I have a listing up there. And then Coos County. I work Coos County, that little coastal area, and I'm the PB for our mega agent office over at the coast. And occasionally I'll get the pleasure of helping someone over there. So for Lane County, I'm going to pull it up. I know Brendan is in Lane County. So you'll choose what area you want to. Actually, we could go add. Where are you at, Emily?
I am in Wasco County.
Okay.
So like on mine, it says, it must be Sunset Quarter. It says the Dalles, SFR, which I don't know what that means.
Are you part of RMLS?
Yes.
Oh yeah, you are. There you go. Okay, we'll add that area. And then where are you at, Brent?
I'm in Washington County.
You're in Washington County, okay. Which I had Hillsboro, so we'll stick with Hillsboro if that's okay. And if Lori or Sky want to pop in and let me know, we can do that too. But we're gonna.
This is Lori. Oh, sorry. I'm Lane County, Springfield, Eugene area.
Oh, that's right. You just joined Josh's team.
No, actually, I'm doing the solo agent.
You are solo. Well,
yeah.
I apologize.
No, it's funny because I've thought about Josh's team because he used to be a Green Bay Packer and I'm from Wisconsin, so.
That's right. I love him. Okay, so we'll start with Lane County. So it's really simple. You just add the area you're interested in, then you're able to click on it, and it's going to tell you right away this data. There are 110 homes that are active. Days on market is 113. There are 38 homes pending. 35% of homes on the market are pending. In the last 6 months, it tells how many sold and the days on market average, how many sold per month average, and how close did they get to their listing price. So that's going to give you a lot of information to compare. Okay, in the last 6 months, our days on market has been about 57, but right now the homes on market are sitting longer. Like I said, we've seen a bit of a shift to 113 because of higher interest rates. People have not shopping as much. The tire kickers have gone away. If you're having an open house and you've got people coming through, they're serious people right now. Okay. And then since all of you use RMLS, I'm going to also show you what RMLS offers. But let's go to Washington County for Brent. And you can see Washington County, or the Hillsborough market specifically, 523 are active. Days on market is about 76 days. So what would you do with that information? If your buyer wants to see a house and they say, gosh, Brent, I really love this house. Do you think the sellers would take a lower price? You can talk to them about, well, it's only been on the market for 7 days and the average homes are 76 days on market. They may not be willing at this point to take a lower offer. But if it's been on the market 100 days, they will be seeing other houses in their neighborhood going pending, and they may be willing to negotiate and take a lower price. So that's how you're going to use that information to your advantage. If you know before you go out and meet with that buyer, if you know the average days on market, you're going to be able to advise them on whether they should make a lower offer or a list price offer. Now, interesting, in Brent's area, in Hillsborough, 99.4% of all homes are selling at their listed price. It tells you there's not a lot of price negotiation. What it doesn't tell you is, are sellers willing to pay a buyer agent or a buyer's closing costs? That's not shown in the market data, right?
Or the price reductions done.
Exactly.
Kind of like paying less, but with consent.
Maybe they started at 500 and then they went down to 450 and then they got, full price. So, I'm going to pop over to RMLS real quick, just because this is a live class. And I'm going to show you, how do I want to put, well, I'll just go to my agents real quick. I'll just pull one of my, this is one of my top agents here. So when you're in RMLS and you go to a listing, do you know that you can click on the H for history? And you can see that she went on the market with this house in July of 2024 at 1.59 million. She did not get any buyers. Just under a month later, she went to 1.39. She finally went pending in March at 1.29, and then they canceled. And she came back on the market. So as a buyer's agent, if you were showing this home, you would be able to say to your buyers, they first wanted 1.59. They've come down $300,000 on this home. This shows your market expertise, and when they want to see a house, you're going to go check out everything about that house.
I have a quick RMLS question.
Absolutely, go for it.
I'm sure I should know the answer to this, but that is a listing service. So when you say if you're part of it, so certain
Yeah.
areas of the state aren't covered in that RMLS.
Correct. Where Mitch
Okay.
is, he has Southern Oregon MLS. Where you are, all the way to Salem is RMLS. And then Salem has its own MLS. It's called Willamette Valley. And then when you get to Eugene, we are in the same RMLS that you are.
In Eastern Oregon.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
confusing,
okay.
right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So if someone lives in an area where they're not covered by an RMLS, I guess that just means their house gets advertised differently or the information's different.
Every area in Oregon has an MLS system, a multiple listing service.
Okay.
And realtors that work that market belong to the MLS in that market.
Okay, so every area of Oregon has coverage. It's just different.
It's just.
Oh, I thought you were saying that there were some areas that didn't have coverage.
I'm sorry. No, they have a different MLS system. So
Gotcha. Okay.
what Mitch will log on to in Grants Pass looks totally different than what you're logging on to. But he can,
Okay.
and your homes in your area are not accessible to him. He can only see them on Zillow or Realtor.com. He can't go see the history that you can.
Okay, but you could still, like, I could still sell a house in Southern Oregon. My access would just look different.
Yep.
Got it. Okay.
Great question. So here's another one. You click on history and you can see that she listed this in October at $795. Her listing contract expired and she had to relist it. So this was on the market for quite some time. This has been on the market quite some time without selling. So they would be maybe willing to look at a lower offer. And that's what you can discuss with your clients.
And we can see, I'm trying to get logged in as you're doing that. If I click on, if I open up an address, like I could see that history. It's not just you're seeing it as a.
Yeah, this is what it'll look, I'm in as a principal broker, but here's what it'll look like for you as an agent. You'll put that address in. You're going to click on it. And then right here, you're going to click on the H for history.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. All right, we'll go back to Area Pro and we'll look at Wasco County. Homes there are staying on the market a little bit longer, 143 days active. There are only 60 homes available right now. There are 36 homes that are pending. And they're selling about 97% of the list price. And then down here it shows, you know, original list price $420, final list price $401, average is selling at $392. So Area Pro is a great program to use before you go out and start showing in a neighborhood. And then you're going to pull up each individual house into RMLS, and you're going to become an expert on how long have they been on the market. Were they ever pending and then they got canceled out? And did they have price increases? What price did they start at? What else do you need to know to become an expert? Interest rates and lender regulations. Find yourself a lender that will communicate with you when there are big changes in the mortgage interest rate or economic factors coming up that are going to affect the mortgage interest rate. Things that are going to affect it are the employment or unemployment rate. How many workers are coming in and out of your marketplace? Is your community growing? And has the government made any changes to rules and regulations that might affect the housing market? We did just have a good one in Oregon where the state of Oregon has said anyone with a home can have an RV on their lot as additional housing unit. So if you have room on your lot for an RV to be parked there, you can rent it out. That's going to affect how many people are in rentals, how many people are in home ownership. Multifamily situation where grandma can no longer afford to live on her own. Maybe she's going to go in that RV and then her home is going to be sold to another buyer, someone unrelated. So because multi-generation housing can work like that, we may get some more homes coming on the market as people move in together and take advantage of that rule. I don't know, time will tell, but that is a change in our market that may affect us. It's a regulation that we don't control as agents, but we can keep an eye on. You're going to want to align yourself with a lender partner in your current market that will be able to tell you what are the current interest rates in your area. And at XBN, we have a partnership with Envoy Mortgage. Every month, your offices have an all-partner meeting. We call it the APM. If you are in Capital City, Salem, your APM is on the second Tuesday of every month. If you're out of Sunset Corridor, your APM is on the the second Wednesday of every month. If you're in Eugene, Springfield, your APM is on the third Tuesday. And if you're in Southern Oregon, your APM is on the fourth Tuesday. Those in-office, in-person meetings are very important to attend because our representatives from Envoy are going to give you market information. How many loan applications are coming in? What's the current interest rate? What is the market looking like? If you attend your all-partner meeting for your market center, or if you're not able to attend, the slideshow is always emailed out afterwards. So if you can't get in person into Sunset Corridor, into Capital City, Eugene, or Medford offices, that's okay. It's all emailed out. And you'll want to open that up and it'll say APM recap. That will be the name of the email. And you're going to want to open up that slideshow and you're going to want to see what the Envoy Mortgage rep has done to educate us. Now, why does Envoy do this for us? Because our owner, Chris Soares, is part owner of Envoy Mortgage. So we have that partnership relationship where they can train our agents You don't have to sign up and pay for that training, that market knowledge. They have it. And they share it with our agents every month. I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to go show you where you can look at unemployment information. It's called the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And it's going to have for each state, it's going to have the current rate of unemployment the last time it was reported. So Oregon is 4.6. And you can compare it to other markets. Washington is 4.4. They're ranked by what is the unemployment rate right now. Obviously, people struggling with unemployment are not out buying homes. So when the unemployment rate goes down, there are more people that are able to afford a home. Let's see if I could find. They have this economy at a glance. And again, the website, are you able to see this on my screen? Is it large enough for you to see? I hope so.
I only see you, nothing else.
Oh, my screen share isn't working? What a dork.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
There.
Okay, so it's bls.gov. I thought you were able to see as I was going along there. Let's just bls.gov, Bureau of Labor Statistics. And then I go to data tools and regions. And there's the whole United States, and you can just click on Oregon. And it's going to give you all these stats. If you are a person that's really into stats, it's going to educate you quite a bit on what is the current unemployment. What does it look like? What is the data? Okay. I'm going to show you the no judging on how many tabs I have saved here. Yeah, that's the same thing. Okay, another thing that I like to use is mortgage interest rates daily. So bankrate.com will give you the current mortgage interest rates. See, Loan Depot's at a 7.0 right now for 30-year fixed. Credit unions might be a little bit lower. And then this is what you're going to use as a talking point with your buyers. Currently, the average across the US is a 6.84 for a 30-year fixed. You're going to be out at karaoke, or you're going to be out at lunch with mom, or you're going to be at a Starbucks, and people are going to see that you have a hat on that you're real estate, or you have a Keller Williams shirt on, or maybe you've got a realtor pin that you got from the association, and they're going to say, oh, you're an agent? What are interest rates? It's very important that you establish yourself as an expert, that you're able to tell them, we're looking at about a 6.8 right now. And if I don't know, I don't guess. I say, you'd have to connect with a lender on that. Can I suggest someone for you to talk to? Or you can get on your phone and you can look up bankrate.com right then and find out for them. So becoming the expert doesn't mean that you have to have it all memorized. It just means you need to know where to go to get the data that people are going to ask you for. Keeping up to date on everything about the housing industry is part of your job, so that when you establish yourself as the expert, people will still continue to come to you. You don't have to be a research scientist, but you do have to understand how the different economic factors impact interest rates. I saved, I have 3 vendors that every week they give me a summary of what the interest rates are. Are you able to see that email right there? Okay, great, good. Like I said, I'm not very good at technology. So this is one of my favorite lenders. It's Guild Mortgage. And her name is Liddell White. And if you want to get on her email list, you just send her a note. And Liddell sends us out every Friday, and it says a look into the markets. So it tells what's happening right now in the marketplace. This past week, interest rates rose to the highest level in over a month. Let's discuss what happened. And then Friday, she gave a little blurb on the biggest news was around tariff negotiations. The US and China agreed to a 90-day pause. Why is that important to you? She'll go on to say, well, this shelving sparked a rally, and more money came into risky assets like stocks and cryptocurrency and oil. Money moved out of safe areas like bonds and treasury. And because money moved out of bonds and treasury debt, there was an uptick in interest rates. Then she talked about conflict resolution, what had happened in India and Pakistan. And then she gave good news. It was a very positive consumer price index that came out, the lowest in over 4 years. She talked about national companies announcing investments in the US. She talked about what the feds are likely to do. And Friday morning, Thursday evening, the rates were at 6.9. Her bottom line, there's a lot of uncertainty. The chance of a recession has been nearly eliminated. This is very important as you are out there hearing chatter from fellow agents, your clients, the media, friends and family, your sphere. It's important that you have an expert providing you with information. You don't have to be the research scientist. Heather Ducker with CMG Loans is very good at this. I also get this from Director's Mortgage, and I also get it from Nova Home Loans. Your Envoy loan officer they have a standard that they'll return phone calls within 10 minutes. So you can always reach out and get the information that you need to be the expert. We have the resources. Okay, other things that are important factors are neighborhood numbers. In the little town that I live in, we're getting a McDonald's. It's big news. And I want to encourage each of you to be part of your community. I was a planning commissioner, volunteer, just have to apply for the job as a planning commissioner. I got right on as a planning commissioner in my town, Cresswell, and I did that for years and years. And it helped me know all the building that was going to happen in the town. I knew we were getting Taco Bell before we got Taco Bell. I knew that our gas station was looking to add a car wash. I knew that we got a new business that was assisted living, and I knew how many nurses they were going to be looking for. And I knew that economic information that was really going to impact the citizens, because whether jobs are available is going to determine whether your city is having growth. So I encourage you, after I got tired of being a planning commissioner, I became a city councilwoman, and I was a city councilor for years. I loved that position. And the Chamber of Commerce is a great place to start. Rotaries are a good place to start. Become involved in your community. Give out your business card. If someone invites you to visit their networking group, visit their networking group. You're going to talk about the stats that I just showed you how to pull up, and you're going to be able to say, this is what the national interest rate is right now. This is how many days on market homes are in our area right now. And people are going to start identifying you as the expert. Important to your buyers are these neighborhood numbers. Is your town or your area that you market yourself in heavy with shops and restaurants that new people moving into the community will be interested in? Are there health facilities nearby? Are there neighborhood attractions nearby? If you work social media to build your sphere, I encourage you to know these numbers even more. Do we have any ahas before we move on?
I keep saying this over and over again. We're so rural where we live. I feel like it's different, but
Yeah,
we'll see.
it is different. Do you have something that impacts the market a lot, like apple crop or filbert crops? Or
No, we're heavy in like we grow hay for a living, so we're heavy in hay in this area.
okay,
Kind
so
of between
the weather.
the weather is huge.
Yep.
The cattle market affects a lot.
Yeah.
But we're out in the boonies. I mean, our closest grocery store is 40 miles, so.
Okay. Is there a auction, a cattle auction, or is there a farmers co-op or something where you can volunteer time or just get information? I know where my sister is in Yamhill, they always read the newspaper out of Salem because it has information on the cost of wheat right now and things that affect grass seed costs. We're the largest grass seed producer in the world, in Lynn County. So if there's something that you can use, the Capital Press, that's what it's called. If there's
Sure,
something
yep.
you can use to just know those markets, Emily. So if you have an opportunity for a farm, to list a farm or show a farm, you'll know whether the crops are good or bad right now and what's happening.
And we farm, that's what we do. So we
Oh, you
kind of know.
personally do.
We do. Yeah, that's
Right.
that's our business, is that we're farmers. So I think we're good with that. It's just so funny when you talk about McDonald's and all that,
Yeah.
because we're so far, like but
Yeah.
I think that that's good too, because there's not a lot of local real estate agents. They're all kind of from Portland or somewhere else. So at least I have the community knowledge, which is helpful.
Yeah, I love that. You could have, I mean, this is just a kind of a side note. My mom lives on a century farm, Emily. They got to retirement age and decided to lease out their ground. And
Yep.
my mom leases one of the manufactured homes that they used to have their farm hands. that ran
Oh,
the
interesting.
milking parlors. So kind of interesting too that I just had that knowledge that they were going to be retiring. And when my mom was looking for a rental and I sold her house, I knew that that rental was going to become available. And that made me valuable to her as her listing agent, because I said, you know, Mom, there is somewhere for you to go.
Mhm.
The Zelinskys who we go to church with, they're going to retire, blah, blah, blah. So I just happen to have that knowledge that you could totally find a place to live,
Yep.
you know?
No, I
And
think
so,
it helps.
yeah, yeah. I wish she, you know, personally, I wish she had never sold her house. I love that house, but I was able to help her with that next step in her journey of homeownership. And she actually decided to, that next step meant not owning a home, but I got to sell hers. And that's just part of it. Sometimes you'll be talking to someone and you're thinking that they're a buyer, and they're not really a buyer. They're going out of owning real estate because of health reasons or age or whatever the case may be, financial credit things. You just don't know. And so don't be afraid to ask those open-ended questions like, what are your goals? And sometimes people will say to me, oh, you're a real estate agent? And I'll say, yeah, do you know someone that's thinking about selling or buying? And it took me a long time to get comfortable saying that. But it's all in the tonality when they say, oh, you're a real estate agent? Something's going on there. They want information for their kid who's going to buy or themselves. And I've had people that I've met in just that type of example that it's taken them 3 years to hire me. But I just answer my darn phone every time they have a question. And eventually it became a sale. So we talked about that. So learning the market, learning your clientele, listening, I just touched on that, and keeping the headlines in context. So another thing that you can do is preview homes in your marketplace. So if there is a open house in your area, go to it. Walk through the home. You don't have to say, I do or don't have any buyers looking right now. You can just say, I'm Tammy Sue with Keller Williams. I wanted to take a look. And you walk through. And if you in one weekend go through a $300,000 house, a $500,000 house, a $700,000 house, you are going to start getting an idea of pricing. And when people say, oh, you're a real estate agent, you say, yes. Do you know someone thinking of buying or selling? And they say, well, my kids are ready to get out of an apartment. you can say, I just saw the cutest home last weekend. You don't have to have any buyers. You can go to open houses. You can also use the multiple listing service, and Mara will help you if you're a new agent. And if you're not a new agent and you need help, reach out to me, of course, anytime. But Mara's your coach, and she'll show you how in the MLS to just search for vacant homes and go out. Take your spouse or your best friend or your mom and go out and look at some vacant homes. And look at a $300,000 house, a $500,000 house, a $700,000 house. If there is a home, you don't want, if there's an occupied home, you don't want to set up showings and do that. You don't want to give false hope to a seller. But if it's a vacant home, go take a look at it. Leave your business card on the counter. If that agent calls you for feedback, give them feedback. I thought that bedroom needed to be repainted. I thought the flooring was kind of old. They will appreciate that feedback, and you're educating yourself on the market. Are there any other factors you can think of that you might want to investigate? Any things like maybe history of the area? There's a lake, and if you know that it's a man-made lake, it's not a natural lake, that's kind of information that you have knowledge of, and you develop that, and you just hold on to that, and you're able to speak to it as you're in conversations with people.
I have a question.
Yeah.
We are in a big fire area, probably a lot like Southern California. We've had a lot of fires here the last couple of summers. So the big talk has been, I don't know if you've been following all the Oregon fire maps and people getting canceled on their insurance. So is it wise? I would think so, but talk to if you have a seller, what their homeowner's insurance looks like, because I would think that would be something you want to tell a potential buyer, like they currently have insurance or they don't, or they can't, or whatever. Or maybe you don't want to know the answer. I don't know.
No, I think it's really good. I just hosted a class in Eugene, Springfield last week that was on insurance, and it was I had an insurance agent teach it, and it was on fire mapping. And we talked about it. So absolutely, Emily, that's part of it, because when you get a buyer into contract, they're going to ask you, if they're a first-time home buyer, they're going to ask you, who should I call for homeowners insurance? Their loan officer is going to require, if they're getting a loan, that they have a homeowner's insurance quote.
Okay.
You don't want to do that during their inspection time period, because if you find out that insurance is not available because of natural disaster area, they're going to want to exit out of the deal and get their earnest money back.
Right.
Right. So if you do that during the inspection time period, they have the opportunity to exit out. Another reason that a buyer can exit out of a transaction is because they didn't get loan approval. So let's say the inspection period passes and then they finally go try to get homeowners insurance. If they're not able to, they're not going to be able to close their loan. So your principal broker, either myself or Jim, we're going to help you fight for that earnest money. We're going to help you get back that client's earnest money because they weren't able to get their loan. But if you can nip it in the bud ahead of time and educate them, you're the hero. Because maybe their brother-in-law works at State Farm and State Farm isn't going to insure it. So they've got to go shop. They've got to find another insurer. And if you are letting them know ahead of time, hey, this area has had wildfires, let's check the address with a insurance agent, you're going to be the hero. There's something that you'll, as you're reading books on real estate and you're taking coaching classes, there's something that's called lore, and it's the language of real estate. So you want to know your business, and you want to know that that things change over time in your business. For me, it took about 4 to 5 years before my past clients started calling me because I hate the phone. I hope you're not like me, and that you will stay in contact with your sphere and you'll make phone calls. I started in 1995. We didn't have text messages and we didn't have email. And it took me 4 to 5 years because I was afraid of the phone. I was afraid of rejection. I was 28 years old and scared that I was over my head. So a team was the right thing for me because they had Janice, whose team I joined. She had already vetted the customer. She already knew they were serious, and I could just take them and show them houses. So know that your business may change over time as you learn more and as you stay in contact with your clients. You're going to want to know who are my buyers and who are my sellers, right? So generally, as the market is picking up and down throughout the year, transactions and prices tend to be higher, and inventory slows down in the winter, but prices tend to be higher in the summer. There's more people shopping, there's more buyers shopping. A seller can demand a higher price or list at a higher price. As you're tracking your leads and your appointments and your transactions, you're going to notice these trends. So I think it's really important to analyze your market and keep track of how many real estate conversations are you having. If you get an opportunity to take Keller Williams' program called BOLD, that program will have you tracking your phone calls every week for 6 weeks. You don't need to go through the BOLD program to do that. Start tracking your real estate conversations and try to have a set number, whatever that goal looks like for you. Maybe you work another job and you can't always dedicate 3 hours a day to those conversations, but you've got people you went to school with, you've got past employers, you've got past coworkers, you've got friends and family that you can touch bases with, and those people will become your buyers and those people will become your sellers. And as you start to track it, you're going to know where you're getting your clients from and where your strongest connections are. For me, because my husband was transferred into Eugene and we didn't know anybody, he was the boss at his company, and we got to know all of his employees. And my first 3 deals in Eugene were his employees. So if you have a partner, a spouse, go to their company connections with them. Get out there and talk to people and tell them what you do. And you're going to find that you're going to learn your clientele. You're going to learn, who are you comfortable with? Are you comfortable talking to the complete stranger who works with your partner? Or are you more comfortable having a phone call with your nephew or your cousin and letting them know, I'm in real estate right now. If you have any questions about the market, let me know. I'm here for you. You don't have to have a bunch of transactions under your belt to be the expert. You just have to know where to get the data. So attending the company, the office meeting once a month is really, really important. Attending our second Wednesday of every month, we have a Zoom called State of the Industry. It's at 9 o'clock, the second Wednesday of every month. And that will also give you information on the market. Your local associations are going to also have member meetings. For Brent, who's up in the Portland area, it's going to be PMAR. For Brendan, you're either a member of Springfield or Eugene Realtors. Emily, what is your local association? Is it by county? Is it Wasco County Realtors?
It's MCAR,
Okay.
Mid Columbia.
Mid-Columbia, yes.
Yep, they're out of Hood River.
Yep, Hood River. So if they have a member meeting or a member event, they're going to have speakers to educate you. Don't just go, my advice, I'm sorry, I started to sound bossy. I was going to say, don't just go one time, but give it a couple meetings and find out if that's valuable for you. You don't really need to network with other agents, right? They're your competitors. But if there's an event where there's some education and you can hear what's going on in the market, then you're going to know benefits right now. You're going to learn benefits right now for your clients. There is a program right now called the Oregon Bond. It's getting ready to change its name, and it's down payment assistance. And I have a class coming up for Eugene agents on that program. So just tune into your market center and the classes that they're having. Pick the ones that are going to give you market data. We already said grassroots approach. Learn where your sphere gets information. That's just really, I don't have a lot of talking points on that. That's just if people say, you know, I saw on CNN that interest rates are really high. There's no chance of them lowering. That's an opening for you to say, would you like me to keep you apprised when I hear things that are happening? Are you thinking about investing, or are you thinking about moving? There's some reason they're looking at interest rates. They have a kid that's looking to buy their first house, or they hate that they only have 3-bedroom and they want a 4th bedroom. They would make the move if interest rates lowered. So just offer to keep them in the know. Just offer to be their source. Within Command, our Keller Williams CRM, you can set up drip systems. They're called smart plans for your contacts. And you can email out every 30 days a bit of information. And you might choose for that to be interest rate information. I don't know. It's up to you. Well, as you have more conversations, you're going to learn in your area what are people in your sphere most interested in and where are they getting their info. The more phone calls you make, the more info you're going to get. It's okay if you call Uncle John and he says, I don't have time to talk to you right now. Good luck. For every one of those, you're going to get somebody that says, yeah, my sister was just trying to get pre-approved and man, she can't do 8% interest. And you can say, oh, well, today's average is actually 6.8. You know, just keep inserting yourself as the expert, tracking your leads, tracking your appointments, tracking your conversations is going to help you know where to focus. If someone asks you, are they moving the urban growth boundary? It's okay to say, I don't know if our county's doing that, but I know how to find out. Do you want me to get back to you on that? There's a reason they're asking.
Hey, Tammy,
Yeah.
I gotta run. Sorry to
Okay.
say, but I appreciate you having me here. I don't know if you got my message. I'm gonna have to catch up on the
Oh,
YouTube
no
channel
problem.
for the rest of this.
Yeah, no problem.
But thank you.
Send the recording out.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You bet.
You guys have a good one.
You too. So this was read past the headline and know your numbers. We talked about that. Just know how many phone calls you're making and what questions people are asking. Utilizing your resources. So you all have a free Keller Williams app. It's branded to you. You're able to share your app with your buyers. So you'll want to get an appointment with your agent services person to help set up. if you would like to just download the KW Command app, that's what it looks like in the App Store or wherever you get your apps. It's KW Command. And you're able to add people to your database. So it tells you your database health, how many of your clients that you already have in, 68% of them, you've got the phone number, 74% you've got their email, tells you where you need to work at. And then you have ability to set up those smart plans and be in touch with people. Well, there's directions on getting the app. The KW app is that piece of technology that you're going to want to give consumers so they're not depending on Zillow. You know what the A in Zillow stands for, right? Accuracy. There's no A in the word Zillow. So if someone has said, you know, well, Zillow says my home is worth 800,000. When's the last time someone from Zillow walked through your house? Never. They're going by location and square footage. You, however, are an expert and you can go walk through that house and you can look at the features and benefits that they have and place value on them. So you want folks using your app to search for homes. Then you're capturing their information and you know how often they're going on there and you know what they're looking at. You're going to have a system that you're going to make up for whatever works for your business. You're an independent contractor. It does not matter to me or Jim or Mara if you make 5 phone calls a day or 15. Your business is going to reflect how active you are. And it's going to be what you want it to be. And maybe you're like me and you just need to close, you know, 1 a month to supplement your other income. Or maybe this is your sole income and you need to close 2 a month, 3 a month. One way you can do that is on social media, being active, letting people know that you're a realtor. When you post on social media, you should not always post about real estate. So I do something and I'm okay if you want to rip it off and duplicate it. We don't call it plagiarizing at Keller Williams. We call it rip off and duplicate. So once a week, and I don't do it on a set day because my past clients and my friends that I'm friends with on Facebook and my family, they look for it. I've been doing this for years. I don't care if you copy it. Whenever I remember during the week, I post and I put in quotes, and you can friend me on Facebook if you want to see it. Today's, if I win the lottery, home or property. That's what I say. I do it 52 times a year and I couldn't remember what I call it. Today's, if I win the lottery, property. And then I post a Keller Williams listing. And I use the link from my Keller Williams website. So I go to my own website, I find the house, and I copy that URL so that when my friends or family click into my, you know, oh, Tammy's, if I won the lottery, this is where Tammy would go. They're all luxury. They're all they're truly if I win the lottery. I think one time I did have a 1-bedroom fishing cabin. because I trout fish. So I only do that once a week. If I have a closing, I post about it. If I have a new listing, I post about it. And it gets conversations about real estate, and people remember I'm in real estate. Right? And so I have had where one of my high school buddies will say, well, I'll share, this is if I won the lottery property. And I have this one friend from high school that always comments, there's no lake, there's no pond. And Emily, he's a hay farmer actually. And one time I posted a farm and he said, I'm trying to get away from farming. It's if I won the lottery home, but people have started engaging with me. I've also had people that say, oh, Tammy, did you see this home on Zillow? And they'll give the address. I'll put back the link to my website, my Keller Williams website for that home. People will go look at it. Now they're a lead in my system. They've been to my website. I can tell what they're looking at. I know they're searching in John Day and I need to send them to Emily, or they're searching in Grants Pass and I need to send them to Mitch. Like they're not looking in my area, or they are looking in my area and I need my buyer's agent, Marisa, to touch bases with them. So this is a system that you can use for social media. Sorry, I got on a tangent. You can, like me, post once a week, something about real estate. You can go in and like posts and write comments and send one direct message a day. The very first listing that I got when we moved to Eugene was one of my husband's coworkers. And I sent him a direct message on Facebook. And I said, hey, how you doing? I have my real estate license, as you know, and I'm now active in this marketplace. If you know anybody that's looking to sell, I would really appreciate the referral. And he referred his mother-in-law to me. That was my very first listing. I never thought it would have happened. I would never have believed it if you told me that. I thought I had to go build this friend group and join the PTA and do all these things to make friends. And it was simply the employee phone list that I was able to work from and got my first listing. So study your market center report. This is what you're going to get at your all partner meeting. Preview homes, we talked about that. Go out, see vacant homes, see open houses. Take a course if the RMLS, or for Mitch, who's going to watch this later, the SOMLS, if they're going to have a course on how to pull stats and statistics, take the course. Learn the resources that they have. Study the language of real estate. Know the terms. Know what earnest money means. Keep up your coaching, open office hours, and ask questions. Read The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. I've got mine right here. I keep it wherever I work all the time. I'm going back and I'm looking, well, did Gary have anything in there about this or that? Guess what I opened to? A quote from an agent out of Katy, Texas. I have no fear about calling people or knocking on doors. This is how you make business happen. When I get stuck, this book is really helpful to me. Just to thumb through. I don't have any of the pages marked, and I'll just look at something. Think big, act bold, live large, become the best you can. These are encouraging words to help you. I will probably never become a millionaire, but I want to learn from millionaires. I don't want to learn from people that are not producing. Surround yourself with people that will lift you up. If you read that book, you're going to find a lot of quotes and things that will lift you up. Ahas. Okay, we got to recap here. Oh, I had one other thing in my notes. When I was on a big real estate team in Junction City, where I told you they went from 8 buyers agents to just the 2 of us that were producing, guess what our number one social engagement was? A dog picture contest. Everyone send in a picture of your dog. That was our number one thing. Our number one, whatever. It wasn't even a sales tactic. It was just to get people to engage with us. So you can do something like that. It doesn't have to be about real estate, but you can ask those open-ended questions. What's your favorite animal at the zoo? You know, sometimes a fun fact about where you live. If you're going to use social media, it doesn't have to all be about real estate. People want to know your personality. Okay. I didn't want to forget.
Social media question.
Yeah.
So I have a personal page and then I created a Keller Williams page. So
Yeah.
my assumptions is you're doing a lot of posting on your business page, but when you're talking about your personal, you're doing that on your business page.
No.
The opposite.
I have both.
Okay.
So on my personal page,
Okay.
when I talk about real estate and I do the if I won the lottery property of the week, I make my post public
Through your personal page.
through my personal page.
Gotcha.
But my real goal is there. My real goal there is to remind my friends and family that I'm a real estate agent.
Okay.
That's my goal. And when I have a closing, I put it on both my personal and my business page.
Okay.
When I have a tip about the marketplace or a tip for sellers about getting their home ready to sell, I only do that on my business page.
Okay. So it's kind of depends on what you're posting is where you put it.
Exactly. If
Okay.
it's something that I think people will comment on and I can get traction and action, I'm going to put it on my personal page where I have a lot of friends.
Gotcha.
But if it's a statistic like, you know, interest rates just went up or a new loan product came out, I'm just solely putting that on my business page. I'm not looking for engagement. I'm just educating.
And there's no rule. It's just what
Yeah.
gets the most attention.
Exactly.
Okay. And then a really silly question, because I had a conversation with someone about it. Are we real estate agents or are we real estate brokers? Because we have a
that's
brokerage license.
That's a wonderful question. I love it. So in Oregon, all real estate agents are brokers.
Okay.
Okay. So you can use either.
How would you, so, because our license says brokerage license. So how would you explain to someone the difference?
That's the key point right there. Majority of the public has no clue what a broker is. A broker means you're brokering a deal. You can negotiate independently on your own without me, without your principal broker. You can broker a deal. In the state of Oregon, you don't need my approval to write an offer. You can go write an offer. You can broker a deal.
An agent can't do that.
In some states.
Okay.
In our state, an agent can do that. So I would say brand yourself as an agent because that's what the public is used to hearing.
Okay. So if you use the word agent, you're not legally misrepresenting yourself?
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
You're kind of above that because you're allowed to interact and write those offers and negotiate without you have a supervisor, you have a principal broker who's supervising you, but I don't have to sign off every piece of paper before you present it to the client. Your principal broker sees your paperwork after you've made the deal.
But most people are more familiar with the term agent versus broker.
Yeah,
Got it. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's personal preference what you want to use. But I think agent is more accepted by the community.
That makes sense.
Just
Okay. I've just been looking at different ways to advertise and they use that term. And I'm like, I think we're really a broker, but everybody says agent.
Everybody says agent. Now, my before I became a principal broker this is just my personal opinion on answering your question. I had realtor on my card. Realtor, because we're part of the National Association of Realtors and we're held to the Code of Ethics.
And that's the all caps realtor. Okay.
Yep. There is a difference between real estate agent and realtor. Realtor abides by the Code of Ethics, and you're held to the Code of Ethics, and you can be fined if you do not follow the Code of Ethics. Everyone that's part of our network is a realtor. You belong to NAR because you joined the local association. You belong to NAR. You're a realtor. You're held to those high standards. So you have to decide what are folks in your area most comfortable with? What term do they use the most? If they use real estate agent, go with that.
Gotcha. And then we could always put that little realtor symbol on anything.
You can. And you have the ability to go to NAR website and download their logos and use them in any way you want to, because you are paying those national dues and those local dues.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so a quick wrap up and then I'll let you have some time back in your day. We talked about knowing the type of market. Is it a buyer's market, a seller's market, or a balanced market? And that has to do with inventory. If you took all the homes on the market, didn't add in any more, in how many months would you sell all of those? If it's less than 5, you're in a seller's market. Inventory, same thing. Interest rates and lenders. Connect yourself with a loan officer that you trust that will get you market information. I encourage you to use the Bankrate website and know current interest rates, or connect yourself with someone who's well known, like a CMG, a Guild Mortgage, a Director's Mortgage, or our preferred partner, Envoy Mortgage. If you can't do anything, at least attend or look at the slideshow for your monthly office meeting, which we call APM, All Partner Meeting.
And you said, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
You said, so like for Sunset Corridor, it was on for May 7th, All Production Mastermind. That's what you're talking about?
No, it's the second Wednesday of every month, and it's called the All Partner Meeting. I've got your June calendar right here. Sunset.
I have an ALC meeting.
Nope. APM at 11 o'clock on, you don't have the June calendar yet.
Oh, no, I'm looking at May.
You're looking at May. It should have been on May 14. It should say APM, 11 a.m.
Oh, yes. Well, I saw All Production Mastermind on the 7th too, so that's what I was thinking it was.
That's okay.
So the 8 p.m. at 11.
Yep. In June, it will be June 11th at 11 o'clock.
And then you said it's available on a slideshow after that if we miss it?
Yep.
Okay. I was looking for it in my email from the previous,
Oh,
the
yeah.
one in May. I just didn't see it.
See if you have it from Adriana, who her email address is front desk.
Right.
And you should have it.
Okay. I'll look.
Yeah. See if you have
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah, it should be called APM Recap. Okay. And then state of the industry. in June. That is also on June 11th at 9 a.m. So you'll want to attend that. If you do nothing else, you'll want to tune in for State of the Industry and your Market Center's 8 p.m. Other market factors is just being aware of the news and what's happening out there economically with the unemployment rate and big employers in your area and international trade, things that affect the stock market and interest rates. Building your expertise is learning the market, having those, market statistics of days on market and being able to speak to it. Learning the clientele, you're going to establish a rhythm with your sphere. Who are my clients? Am I getting more welcoming to talk about real estate? Are my friends and family more welcoming, or is it my sphere of influence, my past coworkers, employers, people I went to school with? You're going to learn your clientele. The more phone calls you make, the more you're going to learn about your clientele. If you're young, you may have more clientele in the first-time home buyers. That just might happen. But it also could be that you have a large family and you have more buyers and sellers in the baby boomers. So you just need to focus in on who are my clientele, and the more touches and phone calls you make, the better you're going to get. And then listening to individuals, that is what it is, listening. Listen for them. What is their response when they find out you're in real estate? Oh, you're a realtor? How are interest rates? Oh, you're a realtor? Are prices going up or down? Listen for those questions and have that information to them. You don't have to sound like you've been doing this 20 years. Keeping headlines in context. We never want to scare people. They start talking about recession, inflation, and high interest rates. We want to keep headlines in context. And the way that we do that is we give real statistics that we learn from being engaged and attending meetings. Let me check my notes real quick and see if that is all I had. That's all I had. I love teaching this class, and I just want to encourage you to don't be like I was when I first started and I was afraid to make phone calls. I'll leave you with a quote from Gary Keller. This might shock you, so just hang in there with me while I explain it. The only people that can reject you are the people you would want on your deathbed. Okay. I personally would just want my children at my deathbed. That's it. I no longer have a significant other in my life. I just would want my children. If I call my kid and I say, hey, Ruthie, it's mama, and she hangs up on me, she can reject me. That is going to hurt. But if I call my neighbor and I say, hey, Brent, you asked me about the market last week, and I just found out a really cool VA loan, and I know you're a veteran. Do you want to hear about it? And he says, no, I don't have time. He cannot reject me. He is not going to hurt me personally. That was his decision not to spend time soaking up the information I have for him. He can't reject me. He just doesn't have time for the phone call. He doesn't want the phone call. It's not the right timing for me to connect with him about real estate. He's not rejecting me. My children are the only ones that can reject me, that are going to hurt me. And I wish that when I had started, someone had told me that. You're afraid to call people that want to buy houses. You're never going to grow your business. So start with your friends and family, work onto your sphere, and start sharing with them some of this information that you're gathering about your market. The more you talk about it with your aunt, your nephew, your cousins, your close friends, the more comfortable you're going to be talking to others. That's it. Any other questions? Nope. Okay, I'm going to give a shameless plug. I teach a contract class every Friday, noon to 1. You don't learn this in real estate school. It's the contracts you actually use when you write an offer. It's the paperwork you use when you're in a transaction. So this week's class is seller property disclosures. If you want to join me and you need the link to the class, look at this week, your weekly digest. In your email today, you should have got something called Weekly Digest. And that tells you all the classes available this week. There is one tomorrow from Envoy Mortgage that's about VA loans. I've taken that class twice. I highly recommend it. And Envoy Mortgage happens to employ the #1 VA loan officer in the country, and he's teaching the class. And then my class is on Friday, and it's called Contracts Mastery. So tune in and soak up the information if you're available during those times. Okay. I'm going to give you back, we're 18 minutes early, so I'm giving you back 18 minutes in your day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you.